into the online broadcast network, Afterbuzz TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment. Afterbuzz TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
If you get in trouble.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. The sound of that means only one thing. Here at AfterBuzz TV, we're back for Bar Rescue, the after show. That is the excitement of Roxy Stryer. I am Phil Svitek. Thank you for joining us. Kevin Undergaro. He was on leave of absence, but he will be rejoining the panel, as will Ashley Daniels. Tall Mia will be joining, our favorite bartender. She'll be joining, from time to time when she can. And, of course, Dorinda Barker. But for tonight, you get us.
Oh, yeah.
And we're talking about a sticky situation.
It took me a second to get it, guys. A second too long.
Yes.
This episode gives me the heebie-jeebies.
It does. It's there's a lot to discuss. Before we kind of fully dive into a lot of this stuff, I want to tell you guys we're conducting a survey in tandem with Podcast One. It's a listener survey, so it's not specifically to the show or AfterBuzz necessarily. And we're just trying to gain more into how you guys consume podcasts and various things like that. And this is actually the last week that we're doing it. And if you could just do us one solid favor, since you guys love the show so much and you guys love listening to us, just go to podcastone.com and click the survey button. It only takes like 3 minutes, and it'll really help us out. So thank you in advance of that.
Oh, yeah.
But now, sticky situation. I want to hear your thoughts in general, because you just kept cringing every 2 seconds.
You want to know why? Because this reminded me, the girls that walked in and sat on that couch,
The
and the
recon
entire
girls.
thing, the recon girls and everything that was going on, it just was like I could picture myself there. I am not that far out of college. I am the age range they were looking for. I would absolutely go to a bar like this that had beer pong and whatnot, and I would get a drink and I would sit on the couch. And little would I know that not only had somebody had sex on this couch, but they made a porno on this couch. That's why, it's just cringeworthy to think about. Now I'm starting to think, what college bars did I go to? And oh my God, what happened behind the scenes there?
It's not just, we kind of like to check in, every now and then, kind of dive a little bit deeper. Sometimes we don't go as deep as other times, but for whatever reason, there was a lot out there about this in particular, where it's at its own section. And there was not just porn on there. There was porn on the bars. There was porn
in the bathroom.
Everywhere. And the sick and twisted part of this, it's like public defiance porn. I don't even know what that means, but like just if you put the 3 words together, you can kind of come up with your own definition.
That's not the sickest part to me. The sickest part is not only did this space get rented out to shoot a porno, but it didn't get rented out. They kept the bar open and running with customers. Actually, somebody in the porno is the general manager. Can you imagine walking into the bar that day? You just want to go grab a drink, you see this bar, you walk in, and there's some porn. I'm sorry, I didn't know I signed up for that when I wanted some whiskey. What?
This was,
baffling.
I don't want to tell you again, like, I don't really want, like John, I don't really want to go too deep into it, but it is really sickening. It's not like one-on-one porn. I'll just leave it at that, and that's where I want to stop this.
What'd you do, Phil? You watched some of that porn?
I saw a preview.
Yeah, I will say, in general, though, I was so proud of John during this episode because he could have given it to them way worse. He realized at some point that it wasn't even worth yelling at this guy because he wasn't even there. There was nothing there. Lights are on, but no one's home.
So let's talk about the let's talk about overall impressions of the bar, right? So it's Park 77. We're in the San Francisco area, right next door to San Francisco State University.
Right. Great place to be.
Half a mile from that place.
Do you know what you can do in half a mile? You can walk in heels half a mile. You can stumble in half a mile. That's easy peasy.
Well, there you go. And so Wayne had originally bought it. At first, it was kind of tricky figuring out all the names, but there's Wayne, who's the investor. He's overall owns it.
So Wayne had the two sons. They were Tommy and Angelo, and Wayne had a brother, Tano.
Yes.
So it's the four of them, each with 25%.
And Angelo, the way he described, this was something on his bucket list, and he got to do. And it's
like
you're not
spring
skydiving.
break.
Yeah.
No, I completely agree. I've seen crazy people on this show. We always reference pirates, but whatnot. This, to me, was one of the most baffling episodes because I just wanted to take him and shake him. Not only was he drinking at the bar, had 7 to 10 drinks, not only did he do that every night, not only was he drinking and not asking anybody for money and giving it all away for free, but he also slept at the bar, didn't wake up until morning, and then vomited in the trash can. Oh, dear God. That's your general manager? And he knew, he was mic'd, he was on camera. That was him probably playing nice. What do you make of this guy?
I mean, I have to go back to you don't manage a bar because it's on your bucket list.
Right.
Like, you manage a bar because this is going to become your livelihood. You have 25% of stake in this. This isn't just something that you come in and out of.
That's very true, but I will say this about him. His dad clearly handed this to him on a silver platter and said, roam free. So when he's been there and you can get away with drinking every single night, giving all your friends or acquaintances free drinks, partying your face off, and still not getting reprimanded, why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
I mean, heck, I would probably do that if I was never told otherwise. If I was given the keys to the castle and it was like, go ahead, rage your face off, have as much fun as you can, no repercussions. All right. He was young, he was fun, and he wasn't getting in trouble.
And that was the whole thing. Wayne the father, he let him have this, and this is a little bit later, but he says, I wanted him to learn by, doing and whatever else. And it's like, okay, that's fine, that's one thing, but not when you're supporting it.
Right.
Most times, that happens when, the stereotypical, you're 18, you get kicked out of the house and, go do something on your own. That's you learning by doing it.
Exactly. We talked about this, but he's playing with house money here.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't know the value of any of this. He barely even winced when we hear that they are giving away $360,000 a year of alcohol.
That's outrageous.
He was like, all right. I mean, I almost felt bad for this kid because some of my favorite lines of the episode, Taffer saying to him, can you effing talk? His response, no. Can you think?
Maybe.
What kind of a person? It wasn't like he wasn't screaming back at Taffer. He was just a belligerent mess. Belligerent. I didn't think he would be able to stay sober. Neither did Taffer. At least we were proven wrong in that aspect.
Yeah, I mean, I always not question it, but it's always, one of the things granted, the whole process is tough and it's meant to really break you down, but for me, anything in life is always longevity, right? Mm-hmm. I've seen a lot of people go through Afterbuzz and go through my sort of trainings and things like that, and they can succeed for 3 days. But then, can you do it really for 3 years?
That's true. That's very true. I mean, it's not about, at the end of the episode, they said, and he said, and I'm still sober. Well, I'm not that impressed that you've been sober for a week. That's not ridiculously impressive. Working behind a bar is tough because you are in such a fun environment. You know, I worked at a bar for 5 years. You are there. It's such a fun environment. People are offering to buy you shots. You have all the control. You can pour it. Everybody else is partying. And usually when you're at a party, you're allowed to play along. It's strange to be the person that isn't allowed to do that. So I understand there's a little bit of a learning curve. But he's been there for over 3 years as a general manager. Think about how many shots he's taken in that 3 years behind the bar. You cannot work when you are intoxicated, period. You can't do your best work. So I don't blame Taffer for saying, you can't have a single drink behind there. I'm not even talking about one. None. Wait until your shift is over. Wait till you go home and have your glass of wine or whatever it is you need to do. You clearly cannot run this business like this.
And it also, I mean, just in general, it sets a bad precedent, right? Everyone, because it trickles down. The whole point was with Tano and Tommy, they weren't doing anything about any of this. So it's like, okay, well, clearly that's acceptable. Then you look at the rest of the staff. Well, clearly that's acceptable that our general manager is drinking away. And
how can you expect your bartenders to react any different if the general manager is drinking? Although I will say that Tano and Tommy did want Angelo gone, but Wayne said no.
Doesn't matter. They own 50. If they own 50%. Yeah,
they own 50. They don't own 51.
I mean, I guess you're right in the sense of if Tommy and Angelo, like, because obviously Angelo's not gonna like
oust himself.
Yeah.
Right. So if they had Wayne on their team, the three of them could have kicked out Angelo, but they didn't. Because I understand that too. You're a caring dad and you want your son to be doing well. But guess what? You're actually setting him up to fail by what you're doing. You're not setting him up to succeed.
Here's the thing, the strangest part of all of it too, you usually kind of create benchmarks in this situation, right? So if they're coming into this business, and especially the way it was explained, right? Wayne is solely the investor because none of the rest of them have money for this. So, okay, Angelo, you're going to work at this bar for X amount of years, and here's the qualities that we need to see. After such time, you will own 25% of the bar.
Right.
You fail to meet these expectations, you do not.
Absolutely.
So you like that
benchmarks.
I've never, you know, it starts off with really good intentions, and unfortunately, I've been on the other side of it, where you just want to do right by somebody, but it does them such a disservice if you just hand them something, even if it's simple. It doesn't have to be money. It can be a title. It can be respect. It can be anything.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
But if they're just handed it, then they don't understand its actual value.
Right. And now we've created such a bad habit because it's been so long. If we had come into him the first week he had been there doing this and said, hey, cut the crap, you can't do that, then by 3 years later, they probably would have been making money. But we didn't do that. We let him just play and then play some more and then keep going. I bet it started with 1 drink a night, then 2 drinks a night. Now he's at 10 drinks a night working. He couldn't even make sentences. He couldn't, when he said what happened on this couch, he started licking the couch that the porn was shot on. Like,
oh my God,
putting his face and nuzzling it into the couch.
Which the couch was the centerpiece of everything.
Right, right.
Oh my goodness.
It's disgusting. Disgusting. Who in their right mind would do that? Nobody. An intoxicated person. He was smashed.
We'll talk about Bartender, but before we talk about Bartender, John always has his little gadgets and software and everything that he likes to boast about. For you guys at home, I want to boast about a couple of things. So I'll kind of mention them throughout, but let's start with an online retailer of premium mattresses called Casper.
Cool.
It's actually great. You know, one of the things, you figure you can go to a mattress store, try out a mattress for 3 minutes and really get the feel of it. You don't. You just don't. And so Casper comes in and they've kind of reinvented how it all works. You go online, and you pick out your mattress there, which, by the way, compared to most mattresses, is way cheaper, right? Mattresses that I know that are quality are over $1,500.
Right.
These start. You can get a twin size mattress for $500, twin XL for $600, and kind of up from there. The king size mattress is $950.
Oh, that's amazing.
$950, right?
$1,000.
And so it ships to your house. It comes like in a box. It's memory foam with premium latex, so it's amazing. So it fits in this one box. It comes apart, and you try it out. You try it out risk free for 100 days. You don't like it, you just return it.
Right.
No questions asked, no anything like that. So it's worth the shot. And for our listeners, if you go to www.casper.com/afterbuzz, you get an extra $50 off of your purchase.
Oh, wow.
So
I think this is incredible because, honestly, who the heck has time to go to a store anymore? I buy everything online.
Angelo doesn't even have time to go to the store, let alone like go home and sleep. He needs a mattress there.
Oh, yeah, we got to get him one of the mattresses in the bar for sure.
So there you go. So once again, that's casper.com/afterbuzz for $50 discount off your next mattress.
Thank you.
Try it out. 100 days free.
Cool. That sounds perfect.
But so you mentioned earlier the amount of money that was going through. That was thanks to Bartender. Kind of keeps inventory of all of this stuff.
I think I don't even understand how that technology fully works. He
measures the liquid and based off of the bottles, that you don't have. So if you have 10 bottles, right, of let's say vodka,
right,
and you have X amount of cash, then okay, well, these bottles are supposed to make you this much amount of revenue. If you don't have that much amount of revenue, something's wrong.
It seemed like they did even more than that. They were incredible. They said, when people are coming and going, and it uses the camera on the app, or whatever it is, it just was a really advanced technology, and it seemed like it saves people a lot of work. So there's no excuse anymore to not know if you're over pouring or whatnot. John said, if you're pouring too much, too little, we're gonna know.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
everybody has to be held accountable.
Yeah, I mean, technology in general is great, and that's what I love about John. I mean, his nightclub and bar convention in Vegas every year. It's just, I mean, you gotta go.
Yeah.
If you're in this business, you gotta go.
Yeah.
Speaking of what's gotta go, so this whole place is 4,500 square feet.
Mm-hmm.
I forget how much of it was actually the outside.
Yeah.
But what the hell was that?
The outside part? You mean, it looked like somebody decided to place broken down lawn chairs next to a dumpster. That's what it looked like.
Like that's when you build a fire pit. Like that's literally college kids in the middle of the woods building a fire pit, and you got to have 40 chairs and everyone just brings whatever chair they got.
Why would you leave your home to go to a place like that? What on earth would motivate you? Say, yeah, you know where I want to go tonight? I want to go to that place and sit outside in that white plastic chair with 3 legs that's leaning against something. That's what I want to do.
Which, by the way, San Francisco, it can get warm, but it can also be overall windy.
Yeah.
And so there's no heating out there. No, nothing. Like, that's most of the time, especially at night, that's going to be dead space because people are cold, and unless they're smokers and wearing jackets, no one's going to want to be there.
Or we give them a reason to go outside. Why are we assuming that in this big space, anybody's going to go out there for any reason? Well, that's why we gave them a reason. Most importantly, as John kept saying, though, this is what people are seeing from the street. When you walk by, you look in and you see
lawn chairs.
I wouldn't even know if it was a bar. I would be confused. I would think, oh, this place must be closed. They must be under renovations. What is this couple of weird chairs? There's no way you would be like, ooh, poppin' spot. Let's go in. What?
Oh, my goodness.
What are they thinking? I mean, honestly, that was so embarrassing. They should have put up cardboard to block that. That would have been less embarrassing. I'm serious.
I completely believe you. And even they didn't know how to... Mai Tai. I didn't realize that it was actually invented in Oakland.
Yeah.
But probably something you should know and
when
be
you're
able
from
to
there.
do.
Yeah. I agree. The coloring was so off. Their faces when the people drank them, I felt bad for them. After going with Maria and seeing her try these drinks and spit them out, I know how bad some of these drinks can be, and this seemed like one of the worst. One of the absolute worst.
I'd have to try them all to know which one is the worst, but yeah, I mean, it's so. Yeah, just make a good drink. Just give it, and especially you had nobody there. And by the way, I've seen the complaints on Yelp, and it still kind of seems to be a complaint now that they don't know the drinks, which, yes, I get, and we've seen it in past episodes. Like, if you don't know the drink, look it up on your phone and just do it.
Right. I'm sorry, though, Phil. A lot of the complaints on Yelp are like, I liked the old place better. Well, if you liked the old place better, then you liked sitting on the porno couch, and I don't trust you as a reviewer.
No, I think the bigger issue is they just like free drinks.
Yeah, that's true. Obviously, if I had a local bar that I went to that gave me free drinks all the time, hell yeah.
Yeah.
All right. You can't do that and be in a business. If you want to give somebody free drinks, invite them over to your place. Like, period.
Or create specials. I mean, that's the whole point, right? Hey, you come here 10 times, the next round is on. Like,
right.
Or you come with a party greater than 10, you get 1 round free drink. I don't know. Whatever. Come up with something.
Exactly. Happy hours, whatever it is. Make a deal. Make your customers happy. I completely agree with that. But you can't just give all the booze away for free to everybody. People you haven't even met. It's not even like his best friends were walking in. Random people. This one's on me. Not even just girls that he thought was cute. Guys, older men, younger men, women, whatever. He didn't care. Free drinks for everybody. I could have brought my dog in there. He would have been like, yeah, all right, free drink. Shots on the house.
Before we get into the stress test, one of the things I find funny, instead of shooting a porno, these guys should have just shot a dance battle video. That would have been actually great PR. For those of you who don't know, Maria Menounos, e-host, and of course our very dear Afterbuzz founder, her and Julianne Hough, who's on Dancing with the Stars now as a judge, for over the past 2 years, they've done this thing called Dance Battle, where they shoot Instagram videos of them just dancing and turn into a battle. So much so that not only like Kate Hudson, Amber Riley got involved, but actually look up John Taffer's Instagram. John Taffer, one of the Christmases, got involved. True. And the Christmas before that, he was actually in Maria's dance battle videos.
Yeah.
So 2 Christmases of John Taffer being involved in this thing. And
he did a pretty good job, too.
He did. Absolutely phenomenal. So definitely check that out. But the point being that this has grown to such an extent that it's become a great thing. Now it's a special on ABC. And it's, you can actually be involved. So, Angelo, if you're listening, instead of shooting a porno, please get your friends and shoot a dance battle video and post it to dancebattleamericacasting.com. That might actually give you some PR.
Yeah.
Besides bar rescue, of course.
And fine, then on your weekend or whenever you have time off, if you want to have a drink and do that dance, that's your time to do it.
That's right. And by the way, that's not. This isn't just for Angela. It's for anybody listening. Right. Get a group of friends. You do not have to be professional dancers like Julianne Hough.
The coolest part, though, is if they like your video enough, then you actually could get flown out to Los Angeles to
compete on national television,
which is amazing,
on ABC.
Oh yeah.
So dancebattleamericacasting.com. That's how you get on. All right. So the stress test. I thought it was very much a different stress test in the sense that you had 3 of the 4 owners sitting there,
which was hysterical. Usually we can't quite figure out who's to blame. This was very obvious who was to blame. So we were like, all right, you want to run the show? Go ahead, run it. We just have to sit there and watch. But they couldn't even do that, Phil, because they were watching all of their money fly out the window. So they're sitting there trying to bite their tongues, but they're like, did you take any of the money? These bartenders hadn't even learned to take the transactions. We even heard one of them be like, oh, this is where the cash register is.
How long you worked here?
What? And I don't even blame her. It's not her fault. She's never been taught otherwise. It's the first thing you learn when you work at a bar.
Take the money.
Take the money. What?
And part of it, in past episodes, what we've seen is like, yeah, they're not ringing up the transactions, but certainly not stopping you, honey, from getting your tips.
Yeah.
And that is obviously an issue because that's stealing.
Of course.
Literally, right?
Of course.
I don't even know if we saw that. It's just literally no tips, and unless
they were just having a good time. That's all they cared about. But again, playing with house money. This isn't their money to have a good time with.
Well, at that point, I don't think they were having fun as so much as they were trying to do the drinks. But part of doing the drinks, again, you don't just, I tell the staff here, you don't get to just do one thing. You gotta, in this scenario, you gotta make the drinks and ring up the cash. It's not, you gotta do both.
And
There's
restock
no choice.
the bar. And make sure your customers are happy. And do it quickly. And check in on everybody. You got to do a lot of things as a bartender. You have to.
Yeah.
And you have to do even more things as a GM.
And the whole GM, you gotta see this whole thing playing out.
I don't understand these people. Do they not watch an episode? They stand behind the bar. The GMs always are behind the bar. Taffer says, go out onto the floor. Let your bartenders bartend, and you manage.
The problem is, the problem is there's no foresight, right? A lot of this, as a general manager, and you look at it, and I try to do with these guys, and it becomes a little bit more increasingly difficult because we're literally running almost 24 hours a day here. But, even now we're developing systems where we check in, we talk as a group, and so on and so forth. But the idea is that, okay, and especially with the stress test, you develop a system of like, hey, guys, we're going to be slammed, and there's protocol. So, for example, here in Afterbuzz, if we know we have a long day, we do the dishes midway through the day because we know, towards the end of the night, we're going to run out of Afterbuzz mugs.
Right.
And so there's that system in place. And so with this, it's like, okay, we know we're going to get slammed. So what's the protocol when we run out of limes? How many cups we got? We know where eventually, if we serve every one of these people, we're going to run out of glassware. So who's in charge of bringing this in at what point? If you notice that we're down to a third of the cups, that's when you go collect everything. Right. I don't care if someone even if it's like, hey, someone's got a drink, get it back.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just figure, have a system in place, and that isn't in. The good news is that isn't in the moment. It's a lot of in the film world we call it pre-production work. Mm-hmm. Before the production, you pre-produce this stuff so you have and know what you're going in with.
Yeah, absolutely. And they just didn't have a plan. They were running around like chickens with their head cut off.
Because they were reacting. That's the whole point. You are literally reacting to the whole thing, and by that point, it is too late. Yeah, right. Congratulations. You failed at that point.
Right, but the only good part about it was the fact that Taffer said, we can no longer call him a drunk. We can just call him a moron, but he's not a drunk. So I was just happy to see that he was capable of staying sober, even though it was just for the one night. Some people aren't. They really aren't, Phil.
No, trust me, 100% I get that. I don't know. Maybe that it's my insensitivity at that point coming into. I mean,
right.
Again, not to be insensitive. I mean, he's hungover, so at that point, you're just miserable, and perhaps the last thing that you want is a drink.
It didn't seem like that from him.
You didn't think he was hungover at all?
Oh my God, I definitely think he was hungover, but I think he's the kind of guy who is hair of the dog, and when he's hungover, all he wants is another drink to make it go away. I'm guessing that because watch the way he's doing this every single night. It has to be like that. I just think that he really was like, all right, 25% is on the line. If I have a single sip, I'm out. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. So I was not impressed, but I was pleasantly surprised. I was expecting to see him take something in the bathroom or something, us to catch him somehow. So it was Taffer.
Yeah. So he didn't. Congratulations there, Angela. But yeah, they had a big talk. And you know what? So it's shoot. Why am I blanking on the name? Tommy. That's going to step up.
Was Tommy the one? Yeah, Tommy steps up. The brother steps up. And
Tano's going to step up to support the both of them.
Yeah.
Angela's going to be the assistant GM. And Tommy's going to really take the reins.
He's going to be the acting GM. Right.
And they say here's the thing. I mean, I get that they're searching for something, but I didn't understand why that, and it takes the simplest things to really break through, and obviously that was, in this case, that's John. But why that wasn't a solution from the get-go. And to be honest, I don't know if I want another GM.
I know.
I think Tommy should do it.
I think he works elsewhere, they mentioned, or he has other things, and he has a kid, and I don't remember what it was, but I don't think he is capable of holding down this job for too long because of other outside things, is what it seemed like to me. Because it didn't even seem like it was on the table. He can do it for now until they find somebody, but not forever.
Yeah. So, well, in that regard, I really hope they find someone good. I mean,
me too.
I think they're out there. I think it's doable.
This show definitely gives it exposure, so now hopefully get more applications.
Yeah, and
kick butt people.
You know, the four brothers, they got to stay on the same page, and they got to come up with a list of...
two brothers and two brothers. They're not...
Yeah, I keep calling them four brothers. They're not four brothers, but the family unit, they got to stick together, and whoever the general... part of it is you got to trust this guy to have, you know, if he has a vision of how this place can be run and systems, and so you got to let him do that.
Yeah.
You know, and especially where you've proven that perhaps you can't succeed unless you prove as an acting manager, Tommy, that in these couple of weeks that you can really turn around and these are great systems. Then keep them, right? Obviously, you know, keep what works. But if someone else comes in and they want to do their own thing, you got to be able to step back too.
Right, I agree.
Before we get into the remodel, I do want to tell last thing that I want to tell you guys.
Yeah, you have a new app, don't you?
I do. It's actually really fun. I feel like John, you would actually like this, but fans, you guys as well.
Cool.
For those of you guys who are watching, I'm going to kind of model this. If you're listening, you know, just listen along and kind of envision it, right? So, I'm sure most like you guys. You guys love magazines, but for me the problem has always been like if I like a magazine, you know, I either got to get the subscription and then it's got to be delivered to my house, or I go to the news rack, or like it's just always a nightmare, and keeping up with which issue is which.
And then you leave it at home and you want to read it wherever you are, but it's on home on your couch and you don't have it then, so you buy it again and you buy it like 17 times.
Exactly. It's just a lot of magazines. And by the way, I don't get them all, right? You know, you got to account for each one. And so there's a new app called Next Issue. What it does is it's an app for your smartphone, your tablet, and I happen to have it on my tablet, and it gives you access to hundreds of magazines. So as it's loading here, for those who got this on video, I'm just literally scrolling up and down this entire...
Cosmo!
It's got Cosmo, it's got National Geographic, People, Us Magazine, My Favorite, Wired, 17, Sports Illustrated, ESPN, Rolling Stone. I mean... I could list these on and on for days, but for basically $10 a month, you get access to all of these magazines.
Wow.
And the nice part is, if you go to nextissue.com/abtv, you get 30-day free trial. Check it out. And again, it's on the go, and you get access to. It doesn't matter. You get. For me, it's Wired magazine, right? I can have this month's issue as well as February's issue. I don't have to keep like a storage of all these magazines. I still have access to them.
If I have it on my phone, I can get it on my tablet too?
You can get it up to 5 devices, so
cool.
It's great. You know, you can have it on your phone, your tablet, whatever else it's on the go. And the same day it's newsprint, you get it on your tablet or smartphone, doesn't matter. So nextissue.com/abtv, and that's all the product sponsorship I got.
Woo!
That's right. Trying to match John Taffer. You know, he's got a lot of cool stuff he's got to talk about. I got a lot of cool stuff I want to talk about.
Well, that's actually why I love doing it, because I didn't know about this app before you told me, and now, honestly, it's a game changer. I really appreciate it. So
game changer. Bar HQ. That's John's app too. By the way, you guys got to download it. Check that out too. Cool. Okay, so the remodel, the lister.
Really cool name. Incredibly cool concept. Loved this. Sometimes I have to say the bar names are very straight on, like exactly what this. I was like, "What's the lister?" I was pleasantly surprised when we found out. It sounds cool. It's the first president of San Diego State. I thought this was a kind of hysterical concept. We put his face on all these different images, really outside the box, knowing their audience. I loved it.
Yeah. One of the best things, and we'll talk about the butt funnels, but I really loved the way the mirrors were done for the bar in terms of a makeup thing.
Yeah, that was cool.
Again, as you said to the fellas, you guys won't know that, but the girls will.
Oh,
and I didn't.
Yeah.
But the girls did.
I knew.
So what explain it to me, because again, I still don't quite know.
There's nothing to really explain. It's just like pretty much designed after and replicates what we go to when we go to any of these beauty stores or whatnot with the mirrors and everything. It looked awesome. It was beautiful, and it was comfortable, something we recognized, and it had a great setup. I really thought it was great.
Okay. Very cool. Yeah, I love that side of it. They have the dance floor, right? And they have 3, count them, 1, 2, 3 butt funnels.
First time in Taffer history that there have been 3 butt funnels.
First time in Roxy history hearing what a butt funnel is.
Well, it's just when he said it, it caught me off guard. But now I'm in.
Well, especially
after talking about all the porn, my mind was somewhere else for a minute. I'll just say that.
Yes, luckily the butt funnel is not
referring to the dance floor.
Yes, and it's a way of social interaction. I mean, especially when when you're 20-something years old and you go to a bar, you're there for a social interaction. You want to meet people. Let's be honest, and it doesn't have to be a sleazy way of going about it, but that's the point.
I gotta tell you, I love dancing. I love dancing, and I thought that this was a really smart way to cater to a young female audience, especially near a college, especially if you want to jam-pack it Thursday, Friday, Saturday nights, Tuesday nights, whatever the big night of that school is. You got to make it fun. You got to make it casual and hip, and have the beer pong tables outside, have the ping pong tables, and have the dance floor, and do the goofy things on the wall. Yes. And I was really appreciative that he did this, because I think that he saw the good parts of Angela, the fact that Angela was a really fun guy and did know how to at least vibe with these people. Nobody seemed to be like, oh, Angelo is such a dick, or people did like him, obviously. So I think that he did a great job making this really fun bar.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And you know what, Angelo, if you're listening, you know what? Sometimes it's equally as fun seeing people have a good time.
Yeah.
And being like, hey, and by the way, grab the person that's not having fun and make them have fun.
Yeah. It's like, when you buy somebody really cool presents on Christmas, it's even better than opening up your own presents. You get to look at their face and watch them. That's how I feel, at least. And by the way, if you make a spot that you really love, when you get one night off, why don't you go there and enjoy yourself? Great.
There you go.
Yeah. I thought it was awesome. I would love to go dance there. I would love to go have a drink. Just with my friends, meeting people. They did such an incredible job with this.
And by the way, a shout out to Russell Davis, dear friend of mine. I think it was I spent New Year's Eve with him this year.
Ooh. Aren't you popular?
Hey, we go way back. I actually went to one of his bars in San Francisco. When he says that was his stomping ground, it was his stomping ground.
Huh. Cool.
And I have no doubt that he did not know about Park 77, this dinky little bar before this.
He did know. He knew it from the porn.
He knew it from the streets.
That's a good reputation to have.
So we had his drink that he made, and I'm glad he taught everyone how to make a Mai Tai.
Yeah, that was important. Then we had the gator bait and the skip and go lister. It was cool. I always love that they show that on this show, like how many parts, because I think it's interesting to learn. And that's a cool party trick.
Yeah, and it's always been obviously John's made this show very much because he loves the educational aspect of it. Right. So there you have it. Unless anything else, Rox, you got, I think that about does it for us tonight.
Yeah, we increased sales 20%.
That's right.
So let's increase viewership 20%. But yeah.
So we're in the next phase of Bar Rescue on Spike. Obviously Sundays at 9 Eastern. John was actually here, for those of you who don't know, a couple days ago. He did an interview with Kevin Undergaro. You guys should definitely check that out. And the reason I bring that up is because he was, before his interview, he was telling me about all the exciting things for Bar Rescue coming up.
Cool.
And he gave me a couple hints, but, you know, he also knows that I'm such a big fan of the show. I said, John, don't spoil it for me.
Right.
And he's always a great sport about not doing that sort of thing. And so I don't know things coming up, but he is so excited for them, and I know in the past he's gotten me excited, and obviously he's been proven right, and so I can only imagine where we're headed.
Well, this episode was off to a great start, so
absolutely. So
we're opening with porn. Let's see what we close with. I had to go there,
and that is literally the close of our show. See you guys. Follow Roxy Stryer at Roxy Stryer.
Thanks for having me on the show. I appreciate it. You know how much I love it.
Of course. And follow us here at Afterbuzz TV. You know, Kevin Undergaro is at Undergaro. Dorinda Barker is at Lula Cherry Films. Ashley Daniels
is at Miss Ashley Daniels.
That's right.
And Ashley Daniels also, depending where you are.
Follow John Taffer at John Taffer. Download his app, Bar HQ. Get the book called...
Where's Mia? Talmia?
Talmia is at Talmia. Yeah. Get the book, Raise the Bar. And, of course, once again, if you want to be on ABC's Dance Battle America, go to dancebattleamericacasting.com. Get your mattress at casper.com/AfterBuzz. And then, of course, you like magazines, go to nextissue.com/ABTV. Whew! That was a mouthful. See you guys next time.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire Afterbuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the Afterbuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterbuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of Afterbuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of Afterbuzz TV or its owners or principals.